Hey everyone, in this video I will talk about something that's becoming more relevant by the day. How do you actually set up your local development when most of your code is being written by AI agents? You've got Cursor, Claude Code, Codex. These tools are all pretty good at writing code, but they have a fundamental problem. They work within a single repo or service context, and they can only validate against whatever runs locally. Sure, you could wire up your agents to spin up and tear down full environments before validating, but that's slow, expensive, and you're burning tokens just to replicate infrastructure that already exists. The result? Agents generate code that looks correct in isolation, and then you find out at runtime that it breaks something 3 services down the call chain. And then there's the scale problem. When you've got multiple developers and multiple agents all making changes simultaneously, you can't just share one staging environment. You need something like Git work trees, but for your infrastructure. Isolated environments that are cheap and fast to spin up and don't step on each other. That's what this video is about. I'll show you how to use Signadot to give every developer and every agent their own isolated sandbox wired directly into your real cluster so agents can validate against actual service dependencies, not just whatever happens to run locally. I'll cover local development, using an agent to add new feature with live validation, and debugging a runtime bug using traffic recording and local overrides. I covered Signadot a while back, but they've added a bunch of new functionality since then. So this is the first in a series of videos on this topic. Let's see it in action. Before we get into Signadot, let me show you the application we'll be working with. This is Hot Rod, a sample ride-sharing application built with Go microservices. Front-end, route calculation, driver management, location data, all separate services, all running in Kubernetes, all talking to each other. This is the baseline. Everything is healthy, nothing special. Now, the first thing Signadot does, it gives your local machine direct access to the cluster's network. So when you run Signadot local connect, it configures your local DNS and networking so you can reach any Kubernetes service by its internal name directly from your browser or terminal. Watch this. I open the browser and navigate to frontend.hotrod.svc, the internal Kubernetes DNS name for the Hot Rod frontend. No port forwarding, no load balancer, no ngrok, just the service name directly from my laptop. That's the foundation everything else is built on. Now let's see what can we do with it. Here's the problem with developing against a real cluster. If I want to work on the route service locally, I need my local version to be reachable from and able to reach all the other services in the cluster. Traditionally, that means either running everything locally, which is painful, or pushing a new image, waiting for it to roll out, and then sharing that environment with everyone else on the team. Signadot solves this with sandboxes. A sandbox is a lightweight, isolated environment that lives inside your existing cluster or runs locally in your dev environment. Instead of duplicating everything, it replaces the services you're actively working on. Everything else keeps running from the baseline. So in this example, front-end service won't call the route service running inside the cluster. It will route the traffic to the route service running in your local dev environment. Here's the sandbox spec. I'm telling Signadot, fork the route deployment, but instead of running a new pod, route traffic to localhost 8083 that's running on my machine. That's the whole configuration. Once the sandbox is ready, there's one more step before I start the service. The route service needs environment variables from the cluster, so credentials, connection strings, service URLs, etc. Rather than hard coding any of that, I can just pull it directly from the running deployment. That one command exports everything that service needs into my shell. Now I can start the service locally. The service is running on my machine with real cluster config connected to real dependencies running inside that cluster. Now here's the key part. How does Signadot know how to route requests to my local service instead of the one that's running in the cluster? So it uses a baggage header with a key called SD routing key. So when the Chrome extension, for example, activates a sandbox, it injects this header into every browser request automatically. Now the sidecar that's running in the route services pod sees that header, matches it to my sandbox, and then redirects the traffic to my local service. So now when I go and select the locations and place an order, there it is. My local service received the request. The traffic came from the cluster, matched the routing key, and then landed on my laptop. All the other services, front-end, driver, location, are still running in the cluster. I'm only intercepting route. And because this is just a local process, I can make a code change, I can restart the service and then test it immediately. No need to rebuild an image. I don't have to push anything. I don't have to do a rollout. That's my whole development loop. Okay, so now you've seen the core mechanics. You create a sandbox, pull down the cluster environment config, run your service locally, and traffic from the cluster routes to your machine. Clean, fast, no image builds, no pushes, no restarts required. Now let's see what happens when you hand this to an agent. Now let's take this a step further and bring a coding agent into the loop. One of the core problems with agents is that they can't self-validate. They write code that looks correct in isolation, but then they have no way to run it against real dependencies and to see what actually happens. Maybe they can do it, but it's very complex and very hard to set that up. With a sandbox, we can give the agent exactly that, a live environment connected to the real cluster. I've configured the Signadot MCP server in my editor, and this gives me and my agent direct access to Signadot functionality, so it can list the sandboxes, inspect their state, get routing information, create new sandboxes, and basically understand the environment it's working in. Now here's the prompt. So I'm asking the agent to add a fare endpoint. This endpoint will take origin and destination and then use some logic for the distance and return the estimated fare as a JSON response. Then I'm telling it once this feature is implemented to use the Signadot MCP server to create the sandbox and basically test the feature.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Once it implemented the functionality, it will switch to use the Signadot MCP. It will try to get the sandbox creation workflow and then figure out what is it working with. And then it's going to go and it will run, it will create the sandbox first, and then it will go and test the functionality, test this new feature that we created inside that sandbox. At this point, it proposed the spec that it wants to create, and it's asking me to approve it. So once we approve it, it will go ahead and apply that and then test it. All right, so notice how it's asking me whether I want to use 18083 or a different port. So I'm picking 8083. Now I'm giving it's giving me a couple of confirmations that I have to go through. I don't want to review it again. So at this point, it actually went ahead and created the sandbox, and now it's retrieving it, and then it's going to try to run the curl command. So this fails because we're not actually running the service yet. So if I list the sandbox is there up and running. So now it's going to go specify the port and say, go run hot rod route. So this is up and running, and then it's going to send the curl request, and that will succeed. And then it will give us the summary of all the changes that it did and what it tested, and that basically everything works. Now, since the sandbox is still up and running, we didn't delete the sandbox. I can go and also run the route service manually and then just send a curl request and test it out further if I want to. Let's look at the same example, but in this case, the code changes are touching multiple services at the same time. I've added the code that fake calculates the fare and returns it as a part of the find route call from the route service. I also had to update the proto file to add the cost to the find route response message and then update the route interface with the cost as well. Next was the update in the driver service to make sure we return the fare we received from the route and then send it as a notification to the front end. And finally, the change in the front end that just displays the fare we parsed from a notification that was received from the driver service. So now I have a change that spans 3 services, route, driver, and front end, and I want to run all 3 locally and test them together. The nice thing is I don't need 3 separate sandboxes for this. A single sandbox can reference multiple workloads. So in this one sandbox spec with 3 local mappings, route on 8083, driver on 8082, and front end on 8080. And because it's one sandbox, all 3 services share a single routing key. I can apply that one sandbox now, and then before I start the services, I can pull the environment for each workload using the getenv command with the -- local flag. So once for route, once for the driver, and once for the front end. Once I have all that, then I can go and start all 3 services locally, each running in its own terminal. First, let me show you the baseline. So if I request a ride right now without activating anything, you'll see every call goes to the services running in the cluster. That's expected because we haven't selected the sandbox yet. Now I activate the single sandbox from the Chrome extension. This single sandbox with a single routing key will cover all 3 of my local services. So now when I pick the 2 locations and request a ride, you'll see that the traffic flows to my local instances of the services that are running on my machine, and then the estimated fare shows up in the UI, which is served end-to-end from my laptop. Now let's look at the last scenario in the last demo. In this one, I'll show you a debugging workflow that's typically fairly complex and hard to do well without the right tooling. Now, let's assume we bring in a PR that renames a field in the location service response from name to location name, lock name, right? So the service will pass the unit test because the service itself is internally consistent and the unit test will pass. But the front end will break because the front end is expecting a different property name. So this is typically an example of an integration bug that will slip through. So I'm creating a sandbox that runs the location service with that specific PR's image. So this is a pre-built image from the Signadot repo, so no need to build anything. The rest of the cluster will, of course, be completely unaffected. So I can activate the sandbox in my browser, and then let's go and try to find or schedule a fare, a ride. You'll notice that the location dropdown is broken, so there's no location names in there. Something is wrong, but we need to actually see what the service response is to figure out what's wrong. So Signadot has a traffic recorder. So I'll run Signadot traffic record with the inspect flag, and that will open up a interactive terminal UI that will show me all the captured requests that are flowing through the sandbox. So if I go back to the browser and refresh the page, and then we'll try to pick the locations again, you'll see that the responses will come into this traffic recorder. If we click on the response, you'll notice that there's an ID and there's a lock name. And we know that that's wrong. It shouldn't be lock name. It should be name. So let's look at the actual code just to double check that. You'll see, yes. So there's the lock.id, and it's expecting lock.name. But because our service is returning lock name and not just name, the UI fails to load, and the dropdown fails to load and it doesn't show the actual location name. So what I'll do next is I want to test the fix and just to make sure that this will work. So what I'll do is I have an example location fix JavaScript file here. And what it does is it implements the /location endpoint, and then it's using the SD override header value and it's setting it to true. And it's saying, hey, use this location fix, this code here, if someone calls /location. So once we're going to run this, now the last thing that we need to do is we actually need to use a local override functionality, which will allow us to override something that's running in the sandbox. So we'll do Signadot local override -- sandbox, name of our sandbox, and then we'll say we're overriding the location workload. We know what the port is, 8081, and we're overriding it with whatever's running on localhost 8081. And what's running on localhost 8081 is that location fix node server that we started up. Okay, so this came up and you'll see that this is actually explaining to you exactly what we'll do. So your local service, if it responds with that specific header, then the traffic will get routed to whatever's running on 8081. So if we refresh, you'll see that the dropdown now works and it actually shows the services and shows the locations that are coming from that location fix server that we were running. All right, let's recap what we just covered. We connected a local machine directly to a Kubernetes cluster running the Hot Rod sample app and walked through a couple of scenarios. We ran a service locally against a real cluster dependencies with 0 image rebuilds, having an agent write a code for us and implement a feature and then validate it live through the sandbox. We've debugged an integration bug using traffic recording and a local endpoint override. And we showed how to use route groups to test fixes and features and changes across multiple services at the same time. One thing to note is that everything I did here was still open loop. The agent had the tools, the environment was real, but I was still in the loop making judgment calls. I was the one running the curl command, checking the UI, and so on. In the next video, we're closing that loop. I'll show you how to use Signadot plans and skills to define what correct looks like, basically creating a validation suite, and then having an agent write the code, spin up the environment and sandbox, run tests, and then iterate until everything passes without the developer in the loop until it's all done and correct. That's where it gets really interesting. I've included the links to the Hot Rod application and Signadot in the video description, so check that out and let me know in the comments, how are you testing the code your agents write?